Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down UFC Vegas 94. So we are coming off of last week. It was a pretty good week. We did well in LFA. We did well in Aries FC. We did well in PFL. That was a nice little sweep there. And then we came into the UFC event. Some good bets, some bad bets, but we profited just under 2 units. And obviously the two favorite cashes for me were Erosa, because I got a lot of crap on that pick, and he pulled through in a great way. And then Charles Johnson, Charles, that was so sick. That was such a nice knockout. And yeah, now I'm hyped for this card. I don't think I'm going to have as many bets. I've now taped the entire card, and I only have 2 bets right now. Watching a few lines, I'm not really crazy about anything on the slate. It's not my favorite. I'm looking forward to next week a little bit more from a betting perspective, but still should be a pretty good card, and I think there are still some opportunities. And we can jump right in. I don't want to waste too much time. We got Dixon over here. What's up, my brother? Thanks for tuning in as always. And my guy, Tyler. Make sure you guys are checking out 138 MMA. My co-host for the panel will be going live next week. Got some good guests scheduled. It should be a good show. But let's hop right into this card, right? We got Mohammed Usman versus Thomas Petersen starting off the card. Usman 10-3-0. He's going to be, let me see if I can make this bigger for you guys. Yeah, there we go. 10-3-0 for Usman. He's 35 years old, 6'2" with a 79-inch reach. Petersen on the other side, he's going to be 8-2-0. He's going to be 29, so he's 6 years younger, 1 inch shorter, and he's going to be at a 5-inch reach disadvantage. So for me, I usually try to fade both of these guys. I've never been a guy really high on Mohammed Usman. I backed Brandon Sales when he was like plus 500 against him in the PFL, and I've just never been high on the guy. And the same with Petersen. I've never been high on him. I bet Pogues against him. I felt real good going into that fight and ended up being right. I think I lean Usman here. I'm not crazy about it, but honestly, if the line comes down a bit more, I could get to him. Because the way I see it, Petersen's young, so maybe he's getting better. But right now, I don't think he's all that good. He's a great wrestler. You can't take that away from him. But like his best takedowns, like DC was talking about it on the tape, right? In the Pogues fight. His best weapon is that single leg, and he does do it very well. But I just don't know how well it's going to work on Usman. Now, with Usman, we're kind of guessing here because no one's really tested that takedown defense inside of the UFC. And then outside of it, we don't really have much tape on it at all. And I don't even think you can watch the Brandon Sales fight. So it's very difficult to get a read on his takedown defense. But for me, at least, if I'm going to make an assumption, he's a pretty good offensive wrestler. He's training at a good camp. He was very green when he lost to Sales at the time. You know, his skills had not come together at all yet. And I do think he's come a long way. So for me, I have to make an assumption because we don't have the information available. I'm assuming that his takedown defense is pretty decent. He's a big physical athletic guy too. So I'm hoping it holds up if I get to an Usman bet, of course. Otherwise, I don't care. But I'm hoping it holds up, and I'm thinking it does. And if Petersen can't get the takedowns, if he can't get them often, then I don't really know what he's going to do. I hate his striking. I don't think he's a good striker. I don't think he's got much technique to it at all. There's not much process, if any. And he's super hittable. He's so damn hittable. And on the other side with Usman, I think Usman's actually a pretty decent striker. He's improved a lot there. He's got a good jab. The strikes are nice, straight down the pipe, decent combinations. Output is actually pretty good for a guy his size. He can wrestle too, and he hits much harder than Petersen, in my opinion. So I think he can knock Petersen out. I think that he can pick him apart standing. I think that maybe he can even get his own takedowns later on as the fight goes. I actually think Petersen's cardio isn't horrible. I don't think Usman's is horrible either, but both guys do slow down. It's a toss-up for me who's worse. I think Usman's cardio is a little bit better, but I'm not really sure. And yeah, I like Usman here. I think if he can keep it up on the feet, he's good. I think he can mix in takedowns like I mentioned. So, and I think he's live for the knockout over Petersen. So Usman will be the pick. Whether I get to a play, going to depend on the line. Right now we got -132 Usman, +112 Petersen. I'm going to sit tight because I can live without having a bet on that fight. I'll be really okay. But if I can get in at a good price, I'll do that. Let me catch up with the chat, though. MMA Hokage, what's up, brother? Thank you for tuning in. Dixon likes Mo the Motor by unanimous decision. Yeah, maybe. I don't want to get pretty with it. I think he can get a knockout, too. Lou, my guy, saying, Couch, I got to say, I'm digging the evil. Yeah, if only I could actually grow it in. I'm terrible at growing body hair, so it takes a while. It takes a while, but I got to shave. This stuff is itchy. I don't know how you people do it. MMA clips, I max bet Mo Usman. I mean, I don't know if my heart can handle a Usman max bet, but hey, good luck, man. Kamaru prepared his wrestling over the years. I mean, I don't put too much stuff into the brother thing. Goatee really, thank you, my brother. Nicest thing I heard about Petersen this week. He showed toughness. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even really touch on it, but Petersen gets so uncomfortable when he can't get the wrestling going. Just watch the Pogues fight. The takedowns didn't work, and all of a sudden, he just doesn't know what to do anymore, and he just gets picked apart with a jab. Petersen looks like he can make it to a decision. He's a pretty tough dude, but I think Usman can put him out. No, Pirate. No, you know better than that. Petersen gonna oh my god. I think I might hate Mog more than Aura. I don't know yet. You guys let me know. Which one do you think is worse? Mog? He totally mogged him? Or that guy has aura, bro? What's good? And Rad, thank you for tuning in. I don't even know how to explain it to you. It's the stupidest thing ever. It might be dumber than aura. Okay. Yeah, I think Aura is worse. But okay, back to fights. We've got Luana Carolina versus Lucie Pudilova. Carolina 10-4-0. She's 31 years old, 5'6" with a 69-inch reach. Pudilova 14-9-0. She's 30 years old, 1 year younger, 2 inches taller, and she's going to be at a 1.5-inch reach disadvantage. So with Carolina, she's coming up to bantamweight now. I'm pretty sure it's because she missed weight last time out against who was it? Was that Julia? Yeah, catch that round 3 prop. That was so nice there. So I'll be honest here. I didn't tape this one as much as the other ones. This is the one fight that I need to go back and look at a little bit more, especially because I am kind of interested in a play here, but I don't know if I'm going to get there just yet. Just need to go and look at it some more. The way I see it, I think Pudilova could be an interesting dog shot. I think that her grappling has improved a lot. I think that her striking is pretty good. But my issue with her is I really don't like the output on the feet. I'm really not that crazy about it. The grappling's good. The wrestling's good. Timing on the takedowns is good. Control is decent. Jiu-jitsu looks pretty good. But you need hands. You need some hands to set it up. And her striking's decent. It's straight down the pipe. She's not really throwing anything crazy or like really sloppy. But it's also really not much substance to the striking, I guess, is the best way to put it. And with Carolina, she's pretty rangy. She uses that reach decently well. She does have that tall woman's defense. She's standing up tall, chin up in the air. She can be hurt. I don't know if Pudilova is going to be the one to take advantage of that chin. Probably not. I think Pudilova's path here is, striking, but mix in the takedowns probably early and do it often. Carolina, her takedown defense has gotten better. I think her scrambling has gotten better. She uses the hips really well. You see multiple times in multiple fights where her opponents go for a takedown. She hips into it, and she's the one who ends up being on top. And she's shown some good scrambling ability, decent get-ups. It's getting better. But I still do think that Pudilova can get her down. Most of her opponents do get her down at least once, or often twice. I think Pudilova can do it too. I think if she can stay competitive, if she just throws more on the feet, I see no reason why she can't win, because I think it's competitive technique-wise. I just think Luana throws more, maybe hits a little bit harder, and has that reach advantage. But if Pudilova just throws a bit more so she's competitive on the feet too and mixes in those takedowns, I think this fight is there for her. I think she's a decent dog shot. Plus 100 right now. I'm going to wait and see. Like I said, I need to tape this one a little bit more. But I guess I'll pick Pudilova, and I'll see if I get to a play on her or not. But this is super tentative. I might end up changing the pick altogether. And if I do, it'll be up on my Discord, my Twitter, all that good stuff. Actually, only on my Discord now, which is free, though. So still pull up. But moving on. Next up, we've got Yeong Radzhabov versus Trey Ogden. Radzhabov, he's going to be 18-5-1, 33 years old, 5'11" with a 69-inch reach. Ogden on the other side, 17-6-0. He's 34. He's 1 year older. Same height. He's going to be at a 3-inch reach advantage. So for me, I know a lot of people are super hype about Ogden here, and I get it to an extent. He's a smart dude. He's coaching now. Everybody loves them coaches. First it was what's his face, who ended up doing a gambling scheme. The Glory MMA coach, Kraus. First it was Kraus. Now we got Ogden, the new hot coach in MMA. Hopefully he doesn't go ahead and start doing insider gambling, but everyone loves the guy. And I get it. He's smart. He has good game planning. He's a good wrestler. He's very big. He's very physical for the weight class. He looks like a really big dude. He's got really good control. The striking has gotten a lot better. But still, with the striking, he's very limited. Like, he's got the jab. Now he uses like this left hook that's decent, I guess, and his kicks, right? A bunch of leg kicks, and sometimes he'll throw it up to the body or to the head. That's about it. Not much power. Never knocked out anybody in 23 fights. And I just feel like it's not enough. Like, if you can't get those takedowns, I feel like on the feet he needs to do more. And Radzhabov, the dude's a good striker. Maybe at range he's not as at range he's not as clean as Ogden, but up close I think he's a lot more dangerous. He hits a lot harder. He goes to the body pretty well. He mixes up targets. He's got decent kicks of his own, and he's a good wrestler too, right? He's got good takedowns, good offensive wrestling, and he's got pretty good takedown defense. He has been taken down plenty on the tape, but he's also fighting really good wrestlers. We're talking Natan Schultz, Chris Wade's, damn Russians, whatever. You can go look at his record yourself, but he's got good takedown defense. He's got good scrambling. He can get back up. My main issue with him, same issue everybody else has, is his cardio. His cardio is not great. He does slow down, and he is pretty hittable, so that jab of Trey Ogden's could be there for him. But Ogden's wrestling hasn't really been tested inside of the UFC, and not really outside of it either. The closest we really have is the Levitt fight. Levitt got on top twice. First time, I think it was like a kick Ogden did where he fell on his back and Levitt jumped on top. And the second time, I think Ogden shot, Levitt sprawled, and then spun behind. So I feel like watching that, you can't get much of a read on the actual takedown defense, but you can get a read on like how he is off his back. And he's not that great off his back. He's not like instantly getting back up. It's not like super easy for him. He's not like an amazing scrambler. He can be held down. I do think that Yeong can rack up control time. I think he can get those takedowns, maybe even take the back, maybe lock up a guillotine when Ogden tries to shoot. If he can make him panic shoot, hurt him with that striking, with that power, then I think he can lock something up that way too. I just feel like Yeong has way more ways to finish this fight, and I feel like Yeong can also win a decision. So for me, at a close line, I got to lean towards Yeong. He's also fought the much tougher competition, in my opinion. And I just think that outside of him completely gassing, it's a very, very winnable fight for him. Again, I get the Ogden argument. If you're playing Ogden, you're probably thinking, okay, he can use the range, stay a little bit more safe, and then mix in the takedowns, and then hopefully Yeong gets tired and he can comfortably win the fight. But I just think it's a mixture of my guts and my eyes and my brain. I think Yeong's going to win this one, and I think he's live for a finish too. Let's see what we got here in the chat. Gene Silva really, yeah, low-key, he probably did. Let's see. Lucky Tim. What's up, Lucky Tim? Thanks for tuning in, brother. Jonathan Maltais. Ogden may surprise us. I mean, is it going to be a surprise if more than half of MMA Twitter is on him? I mean, everyone I'm seeing is on Ogden. I haven't seen another soul on Yeong yet, so I don't know if he's going to be surprising anyone if he wins. And the line is like pick him, so. Dirty Reg also on Yeong. Good to hear, brother. Thanks for tuning in. All right, let's move on. Next up, we've got Miranda Maverick versus Dione Barbosa. Maverick 13-5-0. She's 27 years old, 5'3" with a 65.5-inch reach. Barbosa on the other side, she's 7-2-0, 32. She's going to be 5 years older. She's going to be 3 inches taller, and she's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage. So this is an interesting fight in terms of like breaking it down. It's not really, I don't think it's going to be an interesting fight to watch, maybe, but I probably doubt it. But the way I see it, Maverick has fought the way better competition, and Maverick has a much better cardio. Those two things I'm pretty confident in. Now, the rest I'm not that confident in. In the striking, I do think Barbosa is a better striker. Maverick, even though she's young, and we say, they're young, they're improving, to me, her striking hasn't changed much. It looks like there's no process whatsoever. She puts together a few left hands, southpaw, puts together a few left hands, a few kicks, and then goes from there. And it's really, there's not much substance to it. There's not much oomph. She's not hurting people. She's not, it's just, I'm surprised it hasn't developed more, I guess is the best way I can put it. But her wrestling is good. The offensive wrestling is very solid. Control is pretty good. Her cardio, like I said, definitely better here. So there's a lot of good stuff going for her. Barbosa, on the other hand, like I said, I think she's the better striker. I don't think she's elite by any means. And I would really feel a lot better taking the dog shot if she actually threw more. If she had better output, I'd feel a lot more comfortable in that. But I am still considering it because she does have good takedown defense. I do want to give her that. Now, I think Maverick might be one of the better wrestlers she's ever fought. She did fight Jenna Bishop on the regionals, and she gave her a good fight. And Bishop is pretty good, but Bishop is more jiu-jitsu focused, unless I'm mixing her up. Jenna Bishop is the jiu-jitsu one, right? Yeah, okay, I'm not tripping. She's more jiu-jitsu focused, and Barbosa was able to defend the takedowns there for the most part. She still did get taken down, but that was like not the best wrestler. Like Bishop has good jiu-jitsu, but not like elite wrestling. Maverick, I don't want to say it's elite, but she's definitely a good wrestler, and I do think she can get some takedowns, rack up some control time. Another issue with Barbosa is her fight IQ. Sometimes she's too happy to be on her back. Sometimes she's a bit submission over position, and she loses that position and ends up on bottom. Those are problems on top with the cardio already against a strong grappler and Maverick who has good cardio, getting less tempted to play it. And the other thing with Barbosa is she's got a judo background. I think it might be Olympic. I'm not positive on that, but regardless, she's got some high-level judo background, and she does have good throws and trips, but I don't know how well those are going to work against like a traditional like freestyle wrestler or folk style, whatever you want to say. I don't really know how it's going to work out. I feel like in general, now I don't have stats to back this up. It's just off my head. In general, I feel like wrestlers versus judo players, the wrestlers are going to have an easier time keeping it on the feet and an easier time getting the takedowns. Could be wrong there. That's just what I think. But yeah, the way I see it, I think Maverick probably is able to get it to the ground, probably is able to control her, and probably is able to, use that cardio. If she loses that first round, take over after that because Barbosa does slow. But at the same time, I can see a decent argument for the underdog. I think you can get like plus 180 on Barbosa, and I can see the argument, right? If she can scramble, use her jiu-jitsu to scramble, which she can do. If she can use that takedown defense, keep it on the feet, she can outstrike Maverick. It's just, can she do it for 3 rounds without gassing and then getting taken down and controlled? I'm not positive. So I'm going to pick Maverick. Probably not betting anything, but the 2 bets I would consider, I guess, is Barbosa money line if I feel like that number is getting crazy, or a Maverick decision, a round 3 decision prop, but I don't think it's going to be plus money, and I'm not going to lay chalk on that. So that's how I feel about this one, and we can move on. Real quick, let me see what's up with the chat. Briva 2001, what's up, brother? I like Maverick a lot here. Training with girls like Rose and Jasmine is good to see. I've been really liking your striking upgrades. I guess. I feel like her striking hasn't improved all that much personally, but maybe I'm wrong. Going Barbosa, I just think it's something really special about her. Yeah, Barbosa's really good. I mean, I was on her. I was all over her against Karakate, and I know a lot of people feel like she lost that fight. I see the argument for sure. I'm not going to say who I think won or lost. It was a close fight, but yeah, that probably isn't the best look though, right? Having a close fight with Karakate, I still am not ready to go ahead and call Karakate like a really good prospect yet. She's still super green. So I don't know how I feel about that fight. But yeah, I do think Barbosa is good, and it should be a good one. But moving on, we've got Brian Kelleher versus Cody Gibson. Brian, he's going to be 24-15, and he's 37 years old, 5'6" with a 64-inch reach. On the other side, Gibson, he is 19-10-0. Sorry about that. 36 years old, so he's 1 year younger. He's going to be 4 inches taller, though, and he's going to have a 7-inch reach advantage. Now, I know a lot of people who are on Kelleher, and I wanted to be on it too because people I think are sharp. But then I taped it, and I can't do it. I don't like the play. I mean, Kelleher's wins have been garbage. No, I don't even think anybody he's beaten recently is still in the UFC, like Domingo Pilarte, Kevin Kroom. And even the Kevin Kroom win, that wasn't even that impressive. And since then, he's lost to 3 studs, Umar, Mario, and Cody Garbrandt. But even the wins haven't been that impressive. And he had the surgery. He had the long layoff. He's super, super hittable. He is explosive, but he's starting to age a little bit. I think that chin is going to get worse and worse. And I think this is a tough fight for him, right? Like, if you ask me, how does Kelleher beat Gibson? I think he's either got to catch him in something, or he's got to be able to get that wrestling off the whole fight. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that. I think Gibson has good takedown defense. Outside of that last Miles Johns fight, he normally has great output. He's got the reach advantage here. He's a much rangier striker. We've seen Kelleher struggle with guys who have that range or reach advantage, like even Kevin Kroom. Like I said, Kroom completely outstruck him at range. And I think that Gibson can do that. I think Gibson can do that better. He's a much better fighter than Kroom. Fast hands, straight down the pipe. Like I said, normally high output, goes to the body pretty well. His takedown defense is very good. His own wrestling is pretty decent. Maybe he can even get his own takedowns. He's got a low-key back take. And I like Gibson here. Not enough to go and lay chalk on him. I mean, he's also almost 37 years old. So I'm not like dying to play him, and I'm probably going to pass. But in terms of a pick, I do like Gibson. And I mean, if the line keeps moving down towards Kelleher, maybe I'll get involved. I don't know how much it's going to keep going, but I could get there. I'm not crazy about the Kelleher pick at all. I'm not convinced he can even grapple for 15 minutes with Cody here. And I know people hate on Gibson's cardio, even though he literally threw like 300 strikes against Katona, landed like 160 or whatever it was, significant strikes, landed like 50 in the third round, and we're calling him gassy. I don't know. That last fight against Miles Johns, that was weird, but he's a better wrestler than Kelleher, in my opinion. He's a younger guy, taking way less damage, so I can't really say just because of that fight, like Kelleher's going to come out here and get the win as a plus 165 dog. I just don't really think he's going to win. So I'm not betting Gibson, but in terms of a pick, I'm on Gibson. Let's see what we got here. All right. Let's see. Peeping Tom. Hey, guys. First time here. Thanks for tuning in, brother. Her first real fight in the UFC, worth a bit of a pass. I did see some potential in her. Yeah, I agree with you on Barbosa, but she's not like super young, right? She's like 34. So I don't know how much improvement we're going to be seeing. So far, I'm liking the stream. I'm glad, my brother. Glad to have you here. You have to make Kelleher beat you and take your money at this point. I'll never back him. I mean, the guy's a dog, right? He's got that dog in him for sure. It's just, I don't know if that's enough at this point. Pass for me. I think Gibson wins, but he's unreliable and can get wrestled. Maybe get a sub. Yeah, agreed. It's not a bet I'm dying to make, and definitely not at the line that it's at right now. Kiwi, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Can't get there. Some fights are made just to be watched. I agree. You do not have to bet every fight. And right now I've only got 2 bets out. So, all right, let's move on. Next up, we've got a great fight. We've got Hyder Amil versus Jeong Lee. Amil 9-0 undefeated. He's going to be 34 years old, 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. On the other side, Lee, he's going to be 28, so he's 6 years younger, 1 inch taller, and he's going to be at a 3-inch reach advantage. So one thing I wanted to talk about off the bat. So I like to listen to other podcasts. I like to listen to other guys when I'm doing household chores, when I'm walking the dog. I'm listening to my boys, seeing what people think. And I was listening to Clint, my guy Clint, Diehard MMA. I was listening to his pod with Brandon from Fight Ready. We all know Brandon Olivas. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, brother. But he was talking about this fight, and he couldn't say much because Lee's training at Fight Ready now. But he was saying that apparently prior to coming to Fight Ready, the guy had never had a real camp. No real coach, no real structured MMA practice, none of that stuff. Never had it. So he got all the way to this point, through the road to UFC tournament, won a UFC fight against Builder, beat Yaji in the finals, and he didn't even have a real camp. Like, if that's true, then I mean, I think we're going to see this kid go real far. Because if you told me he did have a full camp before that, like a normal person, he's been training and having camps and had a coach, I would still think he's a prospect. But now, I mean, if that was all like borderline natural, then kid's going to be a stud. Like, Lee is really, really good. I underrated him a bit last time out. I did bet Yaji against him, and at the time I thought Yaji won. Watching that fight back, I think there's a very, very solid argument for Lee winning. But regardless, Yaji is a great fighter too, so that's a good win. And then the Builder fight, I underrated him. I went with Builder there, and he definitely surprised me. He looked real good. My only issue with him is his output, because other than that, the technique, like the striking is crisp, clean, good kicks, good front kicks. Everything is straight down the pipe, very accurate. He's got some power. Not some. He's definitely got a good amount of power. And I like his striking. I just wish he threw more. I definitely wish he threw more, especially in a matchup like this. And he's got good grappling too. He can offensively grapple. He can defensively grapple. He's got great takedown defense, good scrambling, good get up ability, all that. I definitely don't see Amil having too much success grappling against Lee. If anything, I think it's Lee who can take down Amil, maybe sub him, maybe control him, at least threaten some subs. But with Amil, I mean, I love the dude. I definitely love the guy. It's how can you not be a fan the way he fights? I mean, it's just nonstop pace, nonstop pressure. He's like a featherweight Trevor Peek is the way I see it, except I think he has a bit more technique than Trevor Peek does. You don't see Amil throwing standing hammer fists, but the style is similar. Like, took defense, threw it out the window. I mean, he's extremely hittable because he just stands there to be punched, to be countered. In the pocket, his hands are low. He's going to the body. The counter is right there, but he's relentless. He hits really hard. Like I said, he goes to the body. He mixes up targets. He'll back you up against the fence and let it rip. And he's just relentless. He's relentless. He'll just keep going. You can take him down, but his get-ups and his scrambles are pretty good. I think the fight IQ is a little bit low. Like against Sonmez, he could have finished a few times, and instead he kept going for these ill-advised submission attempts. I don't know what that was about, but he's a really tough guy to handle, and his cardio isn't great. He does slow down, but he kind of just pushes through it, so it's tough to like put too much stock into it. And Lee isn't really like a pace monster, so I don't know. I know he's not going to be the one pushing the pace. It's going to be Hyder pushing the pace. It's like that every fight for Hyder. So I lean Lee just because I do think he's the cleaner guy. I think he's the guy with a much higher ceiling, and now he's at a real camp at Fight Ready, a really good camp. I expect him to get better and better and better. I think that Amil, he's so hittable that Lee should have a decent, like a lot of success, especially at range, but in the pocket too. And like I said, I do think he can mix in some grappling too. I considered laying the chalk on Lee, but laying minus 180 and knowing that the other guy just won't fuck off like at all. He's just going to keep coming. Never been finished, never lost. So it'll be the first time if Lee's the one to pull it off. It's a little scary. So right now I'm just going to stay away. I might just watch this fight and enjoy it. I thought about maybe like Lee ITD, but it's plus 140. So that's garbage. What else? Fight Goes is honestly kind of interesting. I didn't notice it before. It's plus 110 for Fight Goes. And if you asked me before I saw the line what I thought would happen, I would probably tell you I think we're probably going to go to a decision. I mean, if someone gets a finish, I think it's Lee. If Hyder gets a finish, it's probably late, like a round 3 attritional finish where he just beats the crap out of Lee, maybe starts barking at him like Breeden. But I feel like both guys are really durable. Hyder never been finished. Pretty sure Lee's never been finished. I don't remember what that loss was, that one loss on his record, but I kind of like that. It is a little scary because I think Lee's live for a finish, but I'm going to strongly consider that one, and I am actually going to write it down because I like writing stuff down. Amil Lee Fight Goes. Cool. Found a play I like right on stream. I'm going to think about it a little bit more because, like I said, I could see the finishing upside for Lee, and it would suck if I ended up being right with my read and then played Fight Goes. But we'll see. I do kind of like that play, though. Moving on, we're up to the main card now. And we've got Duho Choi versus Bill Algeo. Choi is 14-4-1. He's 33 years old. 5'10" with a 70-inch reach. Algeo, he's going to be 18-8-0. He's 35, so he's 2 years older. He's going to be 2 inches taller, and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. Real quick, let me catch up with the chat. Bravo, I was shocked to find out this was Korean Tiger's first time. Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, and I went on his Instagram and I looked, and I mean, it looked like he had sparring partners, but I do kind of see what Brandon might have been saying because he was like in what looked like a small gym, maybe like a home gym, and with not high caliber sparring guys. So maybe that's what he meant. He just didn't have like a real camp before. But yeah, I kind of like the Korean Tiger as well. Let's see, what else do we got? Seems like a tough play to me on this one. I think a club and sub is me too. Can't bet Algeo. Why does he suck? Did you have Algeo last time out when Nelson knocked him out? Because I did. I did, and that sucked. But I don't think you can say Algeo sucks. That's kind of crazy. The dude definitely doesn't suck. So for this fight, I mean, first major red flag for me is just the straight up inactivity from Choi. He was out for like 3 years. Yeah, like three years and something. Because of the military service over there in Korea. But then he came back against Nelson just about a year and a half ago, got that draw because he lost a point because of that headbutt. And then after that, just hasn't fought since for a year and a half. Algeo, a lot more active. He got knocked out 3 months ago, which is not the best look considering he's coming in against a guy who I think he has, 11 knockouts, something like that. A lot of knockouts. The dude hits very hard. He's a good striker, is Choi. But honestly, I was watching him back, and at least in the Nelson fight, I was kind of underwhelmed. And even like in the Nelson fight and all the other fights, in the Swanson and the Jourdain fight, I just feel like he's kind of predictable. He's just kind of predictable at the hands. Like, he's a good striker, but I don't think he's anything super special. He's explosive and fast, but I don't think it's like crazy striking. Like, holy moly, look at this guy. And he's also pretty hittable. Like, I think he's very hittable. And the output isn't great, especially recently. I mean, in the Nelson fight, like, the output wasn't very good. And even outside of that, like, he's not throwing a ton. And I just think that Algeo throws a lot more. I think Algeo is very rangy, very unorthodox, hard to predict. And I actually really like his striking. I like how he uses that jab. I like how he creates angles. I like all the combinations, the way he mixes up the kicks, the knees, whatever it is, mixes it all up together into his combos. I think he has a lot more weapons and tools standing and grappling, honestly, because I think he's got the grappling upside here. Don't really ever see much wrestling from Choi. Takedown defense is decent, but he can be taken down. I can see Algeo maybe mixing in some takedowns into those long combinations that he does, maybe finish them off with the takedown. And I just think that he's got more ways to win this. He's been more active. He does more on the feet. And yeah, that's exactly why I like him here. Now, do I want to go and bet him at like minus 160, minus 170 when I know he got knocked out 3 months ago and he's fighting a guy with power and explosiveness? No, I'm not running to the window to do that. He's minus 162 now. He opened up minus 275, which is crazy. I definitely would have played Choi early, but I had not taped it by then. And yeah, if the line keeps moving down, if people keep playing Choi, I could get to Algeo. Like, I can get behind Algeo maybe like minus 140. I think I can get behind something like that. Maybe even better. That would be great. But we'll see. If the line stays the way it is, I'll pass, but I do like Algeo to win. All right, next up, we've got a sick fight. We've got Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva. Durden, he's 16-5-1, 33 years old. He's 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. Silva, he's 13-5-2. He's 1 year older at 34. He's going to be 3 inches shorter, and he's going to be at a 1-inch reach disadvantage. Now, I don't think he's at fight ready anymore. I don't know exactly where he is. There's all this stuff with both being at ATT, only one of them being there. Honestly, I don't have any clue. I'm pretty sure Durden is at American Top Team, like the actual one in Florida, not Atlanta. And I'm not positive about Silva, but for me, this is a tough fight because I love both of these guys and I love betting on both of them. They're often underdogs and they often pull through as a dog and even as favorites, at least for Silva, he's pulled through. Now, and stylistically, it's super interesting too because both are really good grapplers, right? I mean, Durden's a better offensive wrestler, in my opinion, and he has better output with the takedowns. He's going for more than them. He's relentless. He's got that pace. He's nonstop, moving forward. But Silva, he's a tough guy to take down, and he can be taken down. I do think Durden will get them, but he's very good at scrambling, and he's very good at getting back up. And what I noticed with him is when he gets back up, he's very, very careful to make sure that first his back is up against the cage, and then he works back up. And he does that so his opponent can't take his back. Durden loves taking the back. That's one of his best moves is push him up against the cage, push him, and get behind that back and then hop on. He does that very well. But Silva's very good at defending that. So I think that can make things really interesting. That can make the grappling exchanges really interesting. Can Durden be taken down? Yeah, Silva could probably land his own takedowns too, but I think Durden's takedown defense is pretty good. He's also a good scrambler, also can get back up well. So I think it's going to be really close there. On the feet, I think Silva's probably cleaner, and I think he hits harder. The dude packs a lot of punch for being that small, 5'4", short reach, but he hits real hard. But because of that stature, because he's a little bit smaller and it's harder for him to lean over and use that reach, he's not as good as at range, right? He's better when the fight is close. If he can close that range, then he's good. He lands those strikes up close, but at range, not as good. Durden will have the reach advantage, and I do think Durden will be able to land more at range. Durden's striking has improved a lot. We're starting to see more straight strikes from him, and I think that he's getting to the point where he's a pretty good striker too. And I like that he's starting to do these like step-in elbows. Those were cool. I think he did them against Hadley. That was a good performance. And yeah, I think I lean Durden here. I think just because I really love that pressure, that pace. I really love that about him. And I think it's competitive on the feet, and I just expect him to get more takedowns and more control time. But I can easily see the argument for Silva. I mean, if he can scramble and keep getting back up every time Durden gets him down on the feet, he's very competitive. He's more likely probably to knock Durden down, if anything, and he can possibly lock up a sub too. Durden has been submitted multiple times. It has been good grapplers that did it, but Silva's a good grappler too, and I can see him threatening some submission attempts on Durden. So I think there's an argument that can be made either way. I think that the line is just about where it should be. So I'm not betting it right now. And honestly, if either guy hits like plus 125, I'm down to make that bet because I think it's a close fight and I'm happy with the dog either way, to be completely honest. I would rather that it's Durden personally, but I wouldn't be sad with a bet on Silva either at like a plus 125 number just because I do think he's also really good. And I do think that I give him a slight advantage in the striking while I give Durden a slight advantage in the offensive grappling. Let's see what we got in the chat here. Dirty Reg saying, I really like Durden in this one. Yeah, I don't want to say I really like him because, like I said, I could see it going either way. But in terms of a pick, I'm going to pick Durden to win. I think he wins more often than not. And, yeah, we can move on. All right, next up, we've got Kurt Holobaugh versus Kaynan Krzyzewski. Holobaugh, he's going to be 28-0. He's 37 years old, 5'11" with a 70-inch reach. On the other side, Kaynan, 15-2-0. He's 33. He's 4 years younger, going to be 1 inch taller, and he's going to be at a 3-inch reach advantage. So first thing I want to get out of the way is apparently Kaynan is now training at Fight Nerds, which is great to know. I mean, the camp is on fire. They've been doing really, really well. I think their male athletes are undefeated. Pretty sure Bruno Brazil trains there, and she hasn't been doing that hot. So maybe not as great for her, but for the most part, Fighting Nerds has been doing very well. So that's good to know. And honestly, even without that information, like I kind of like Kaynan here. I might get to him. I'm just waiting to see what happens with the line because, you know, Kurt is a tough dude and Kurt won't F off and Kurt will keep coming. He's got that dog in him. He's a good striker. He's a good boxer. He hits hard. He goes to the body. He goes to the head. He mixes it all up. His takedown defense isn't very good and his get-ups aren't very good, but he does threaten submissions from bottom, which makes him very dangerous if you're going to take him down. Thing is, I feel like Kaynan's got everything he needs to be able to handle that kind of like fight or that kind of approach because on the feet, he's also a very solid striker. I think that he's got more weapons, more tools, especially if he can lock up that clinch. He's nasty in the clinch, really nice knees, good elbows. And I just think he has more weapons than Kurt, who mostly uses his hands, whereas Kaynan uses everything. And both guys are kind of similar where they're not really like trying to strike at range. They're trying to crash the pocket and just go in on each other. And I think we can expect that here. Now, both guys are pretty hittable too. Kaynan might be a little bit more hittable. He gets very plotty, like he's plotting, a little bit flat-footed, which makes him kind of like an easy target. So I can see Kurt having some success because of that. And Kurt does pressure really well. But I can also see Kaynan catching him on the feet. I think it's close. And I think that Kaynan can also grapple. I think that Kurt, his takedown defense isn't great, like I mentioned. And while he can threaten subs off his back, Kaynan's got pretty good jiu-jitsu. I think it's good enough where he can defend the subs, and I think he can threaten his own. He's got a good back take. He's got good offensive grappling, good wrestling. And I don't know where this narrative of the cardio came from, like the cardio being bad. Maybe I'm blind, and I just don't see it. But, I mean, in the UFC, he's had 2 fights under the banner, right? Contender Series and 1 UFC fight against Elvis Brenner on extremely short notice. And both fights ended in the first round. So I'm not sure where you get gassed from. He won one of them and got knocked out in the other. Didn't look gassed to me. And then the 2 fights before the UFC banner, he went to the 4th, I think 5th. I don't remember. But he made it at least past the 4th round in both of them. and then got a finish. And he didn't look gassed to me. Now, in this fight here, or this one, John David, he was getting taken down quite a bit there. He was able to get back up. He's got pretty good get-ups. I just don't really expect Kurt to be the one to get takedowns here. I don't think his wrestling's that great, and it's not really something he even goes to that often. But from what I've seen, I don't think Kaynan has bad cardio. I actually think it's pretty decent. So, yeah, I like him to win here. I think he has more ways to win. I think he can find a finish. I think he can get a decision win. And, yeah, give me Kaynan Krzyzewski here, and we can move on. All right. Let's move on to the next fight. What do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3 left. All right. So next up, we have Steve Garcia versus Sungwoo Choi. Now, Garcia, he's going to be 15-5-0. He's 32 years old, 6 feet tall with a 73-inch reach. Choi on the other side, he's 11-6-0. He's 31, so he's 1 year younger. Not really, though, 8 months. So he's like what? 5 months younger. He's the same height, and he's going to have a 1.5-inch reach advantage. This fight, to me, I don't really know how you can bet it, at least for myself. Like, I don't know how I can bet this fight. I think that this is an extremely, extremely volatile fight. I think both guys are chinny. I think both guys are extremely not good defensively. I think Garcia's worse with the striking defense, but neither guy has good striking defense, and neither guy has a great chin. Now, I think that Choi is a little bit cleaner in that his strikes are actually straight down the pipe, and he at least tries to defend his head, whereas Garcia is just like this and just swinging for the fences. And, I mean, the guy hits like a train, and he's a good striker. Like, he's very rangy. He'll go to the body, but he's a little bit wild, very, very wild, and it opens himself up to counters, which I do think Choi can take advantage of. I think Choi can catch him. I think Choi can create an angle and catch him with a counter. Now, kind of wonder what the grappling would look like here if they do choose to grapple. Both guys have occasionally gone for takedowns, and both guys look pretty decent doing it. And I've seen both guys take people's back too. But I honestly can't tell you who I think has better offensive wrestling. I just don't think it'll matter much. Both guys also have good takedown defense. I think Garcia has the better takedown defense of the two, but they both have decent takedown defense. So I really don't see grappling coming in here into play. If it did, like, I guess I think it would be Garcia, but I'm not confident with that at all. Like, I don't know. Neither really does it. So I think it'll be a striking match. And in there, I mean, I favor Garcia a little bit just because I think he hits harder. I think he hits harder, and I think he throws more. So I favor him a little bit. But like I said before, Choi's a little bit cleaner, and Garcia's a little bit more wild. So I can 100% see Choi landing a counter too and putting him out as well. Neither guy has a great chin. So I'll pick Garcia, but the confidence is minimal. I have very low confidence. I don't want to bet either guy. I don't really think that I really don't think there's an edge on either side, and I'm not crazy about the knockout props either for these guys. So, yeah, I'm going to pass in terms of a bet. I'll pick Garcia, but not confident at all. Jonathan saying, I'm not too sure if Choi don't KO him. Yeah, I mean, I think either guy can knock each other out. Should be even, so if I'm betting, I'm on the dog and Choi. Yeah, if you have a 50-50 coin flip, you want to take the underdog if you're getting plus 120 or better, but it's just so volatile. It's so volatile. If Choi tries to grapple, do you think he can have success? I mean, he's shown decent grappling offensively when he does it, but Garcia, I really like his takedown defense. I think it's impressive. I thought it was very impressive against Melky Costa. So I feel like he probably won't, but it could be. I think it would be smart for either guy to mix it in because I don't think either guy's expecting it from the other. So could be a good game plan for either guy to just kind of make their opponent double guess what's coming. I just don't think it'll be like a major factor in the fight personally. Dirty Reg saying I'm for Garcia to KO him. Yeah, I think either guy can find that KO. But all right, moving on. We've got our co-main event of the evening. We've got Brad Tavares versus Jeong Park. Now, this is my second bet. The first one was Yeong Radzhabov. I don't even remember if I said it, but I played him at minus 105 to win one unit. And now my second bet is on Brad Tavares. So Brad, 29-0. He's 36 years old, 6'1" at the 74-inch reach. Park on the other side, he's 17-6-0. He's 33, so he's 3 years younger, going to be 3 inches shorter, and he's going to be at a 1-inch reach disadvantage. I like Brad here, and I just like, I'm not crazy about Park. Never was. Really never was crazy about him. I know people were super hype about him after he beat Denise Tiulin, after he beat what's his face? Joseph Holmes, after he beat Duraev, but do any of those wins really mean much? I mean, Duraev is okay, but super gassy. Joseph Holmes wasn't that good. I don't think he's with the UFC anymore. Denise Tiulin, I mean, he's okay. He's a good boxer, but that's it. He's not a great mixed martial artist. He beats guys that he can outpace or outgrapple. Other than that, I don't really think he's beating high-level guys or solid guys. I think that his wrestling's good. I don't think it's elite by any means. I think it works better on guys who are bad grapplers. Then it works, then that jiu-jitsu works. But other than that, I don't think it's like high level. And his boxing is good. His jab is good, but I don't think the striking's crazy. And all that said, I don't get it how you make him like a heavy favorite over Brad Tavares. I don't get how you make him minus 160, minus 170. Brad has really good takedown defense. So is Park going to come out here and easily take him down, easily control him, easily sub him? I don't think so. I don't think it's likely at all. Is Park going to break Tavares like he's broken some guys? I also really don't think so. Brad isn't really the type to get broken like that. And if he can't take him down, if he can't break him, can he outstrike Brad over 3 rounds? I also don't think so. I think Brad is a better striker. I think he uses the range better. I think he's cleaner down the pipe. And I think he might hit a little bit harder. So for me, I guess that's debatable. I don't know who hits harder, but regardless, I like Tavares here. I like him to keep it on the feet standing. I like him to pick apart Park. I like him to win the fight, probably by decision. And yeah, don't really have a ton much more to add there. I played him at plus 140. I like that play. I know people got an even better line, but it is what it is. I think plus 140 is good. I would have made Tavares the slight favorite. I guess people maybe think he's like done. Maybe they think he's like washed. I don't think so. I think he's going to keep it on the feet, and I think he's going to outstrike Park. So give me Tavares in that one. All right, we're up to our main event. We've got Amanda Lemos versus Virna Jandiroba. Lemos, she's 14-3-1. She's 37 years old. She's going to be 5'4" with a 65-inch reach. On the other side, Jandiroba, she's 23-0. She's 36. She's 1 year younger. She's going to be 1 inch shorter, and she's going to have a 1 inch reach disadvantage. So for me, I never really had the best read on either of these women, but I kind of think this is a pretty binary fight. Personally, I feel like we have a striker versus a grappler, and the striker is good at striking, but doesn't have great grappling, and the grappler is great at grappling, but doesn't have great striking. Lemos is the striker here. She's got ridiculous power for the division. She can knock out anybody, and I certainly think she can knock out Virna. I think that is on the table. She hits really, really hard, usually down the pipe, but she will wing some strikes sometimes, some power shots. She can get a little bit sloppy, get a little easy to counter, and her takedown defense isn't that good. She's been taken down many times by many opponents, including Michelle Waterson Gomez not that long ago, and I don't think her get-ups are really that good either. She's shown good jiu-jitsu defense in fights like against Mackenzie Dern, like against Wei Li, when Wei Li was just dominating her for 5 rounds, but I just do think that she can be taken down, and I do think she can be held down, and I think Jandiroba, she's got the skill set to do it. You know, she's a good wrestler. She's got really good jiu-jitsu, but the wrestling is good too. She goes for those takedowns. The hands aren't anything special. Lemos is definitely a better striker. Lemos definitely hits a lot harder, and Jandiroba is very hittable. So in the striking, I definitely favor Lemos, but I think the Jandiroba, her striking's gotten better. I think it's good enough where she can at least set up takedowns where she's not just panic shooting. Because if she panic shoots and Lemos can stuff them, then she's screwed. If she's panic shooting, Lemos just hits those underhooks that we've seen her do before. Like I said, even though she doesn't have the best takedown defense, she does do the right things. I could see her stuffing some takedowns. And if that starts getting to Jandiroba, Lemos might just be able to finish her standing. But I can also see Jandiroba getting those takedowns, staying safe, being able to take the back, being able to rack up the control, maybe threaten some subs. I think that's on the table for Jandiroba. Where this gets really like confusing for me is I don't know what the hell happens if we leave the 3rd round. I don't know who has worse cardio. I don't think either of them has great cardio. I know everybody's hating on Virna's, but are we that confident in saying that Lemos has great cardio too? I'm not. I'm really not. So I think it's anybody's guess in who's going to have the better gas tank. But in a close fight, in close odds between a striker and a grappler, I'm normally going to pick the grappler. That's just the way I work, the way I see things. If it's a close line and I'm making a bet, I'm usually going to pick the grappler, or just making the pick. I'm usually going to pick a grappler over the striker. And here I am going to pick Virna to win. I'm not running to the table to bet her at minus 130. I don't think it's a crazy price because she does have that grappling upside. I think it's about accurate, but I want something a little bit better because I definitely do see the argument for Lemos. I know a lot of people are on Lemos, and I can understand why they are, but I rather just, for me, it's Jandiroba or pass, I think, unless I get Lemos at a much better number, which I don't think I will. I think if anything, I'll get Virna at a better number, and that's probably what I'll play. So yeah, Virna Jandiroba for me in the main. Not a super confident take. Like I said, I think it's binary, and I think it can go either way, but I am leaning towards the Virna side, leaning towards the grappler. And let's see what we got here. My Virna Brazilian hat that I ordered, so happy. Virna wears a Brazilian hat? What am I missing there? And Briva saying at the odds, I like Lemos. I think she can survive with Jandy on top and wait out for the next rounds. Yeah, sure. But like Virna, what? She's had 1 5-rounder against Wei Li, and she got the living daylights beaten out of her the whole time. Let me just make sure I'm not tweaking. Lemos has had the Marino one was a 5-rounder, but that finished in the 3rd round. Andrade was a 5-rounder, but that finished in the 1st. Yeah, and outside of that, so Lemos might have 5-round experience, but it was one time. It was one time, and it was against Wei Li. And like I said, Rodriguez ended in the 3rd, Andrade in the 1st. So like the fact that those fights could have had championship rounds means absolutely nothing about how Lemos will look in the 4th and the 5th. And in the Wei Li fight, I mean, I know she got beaten like pillar to post, but cardio didn't look that great. In the 4th and 5th round, she had very little to offer. Even when they were standing, she was like very, very tired. So I don't have any real reason to believe that Lemos is going to have better cardio. I don't. That's how I see it. I don't think either of them has good cardio, but I can see Virna being able to still pull through. Like Virna, say what you want about her cardio, but she's still getting takedowns in these tough 3rd rounds. She's still doing what she needs to do. She's still getting the positions she needs to get. Against Lucie in a close fight, round 3, there was a ton of scrambles, a bunch of things happening, and she took the back. She won that fight. So, yeah, I like Virna. And I don't know how anyone can be confident that Lemos will have better cardio. I don't really see how. I've been seeing only Lemos love. I don't think I've seen a single Virna bet yet, but let's see. All right, guys, that's it. That is UFC Vegas 94. I'll run through my picks one more time, and I'll tell you the 2 bets I do have and what I'm looking out for, and then we'll get out of here. So Usman Petersen, I'm picking Usman, and I'll play Usman if the line comes down. Carolina Pudilova, I'm tentatively picking Pudilova, but I need to tape that one more. Yoic Radzhabov, Ogden, I'm picking Radzhabov, and I played him at minus 105 to win 1 unit. Maverick Barbosa, I'll pick Maverick. I'm not going to play anything, I don't think. Kelleher Gibson, I'm picking Gibson. Won't play anything unless the line crashes in on Kelleher. Amil Lee, I'm going to pick Lee. Also probably not playing anything. Algeo Choi, picking Algeo. Probably not playing nothing. Durden Silva, leaning Silva. Still don't know what I'm doing there. Kurt Holobaugh, Kraszewski. I'm going to go with Kaynan. We'll see if I get to a play. I might. Garcia Choi, leaning Garcia. Have no interest in playing anything. Tavares Park, I picked Tavares, and I think he's going to win, so I bet him at plus 140. And then Lemos Jandiroba, I'm leaning Jandiroba. No play yet. All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to check out the free Discord. That's where I post all my bets, my picks, my breakdowns, my notes, and we talk a ton of fights in there too. The link is in the description of this video. And like I said, it's 100% free, so join that, check it out. And yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. Peace out, and good luck this weekend.